Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the From Ordinary to Extraordinary podcast. This is your host, Victoria Caldwell, and I have another exciting guest today. Actually, he's a little bit different than some of the other guests, and his name is Yusuf Chowdhury. He's a professional digital marketing consultant, business coach, and instructor with a combined 15 years of experience in the field of marketing research. He's given lectures at colleges and universities, both nationally and internationally, over topics such as social media, SEO, creation of WordPress-based websites, video marketing, blogging, and mobile marketing. And if you've ever been privileged enough to hear Yusuf speak or teach or train, then you'll know why I'm excited to have him on today. When I had him at an event of mine, which he's come to almost all of them, all of the guests were just scribbling and taking notes because he just lays it all out on the line and just gives you so much value. And he's definitely an expert in this field. So I'm really excited to have him on today. Yusuf, how are you doing?
Thank you so much, Victoria. I'm so excited, and I really appreciate this opportunity. Very excited.
Well, good. I'm glad. So I know you have an appointment soon, so I wanted to just go ahead and jump right in. And I know I've known you forever, and we've been calling you the SEO guy from how many years? And you obviously branched out way past SEO now, so you're just the online marketing guy right now. So no
Yeah,
matter what comes up,
absolutely. Well, it's funny because one of the new tagline that if you notice, either I call myself or somebody called me the optimization guy. And there was a story behind it because one of my awesome, happy client, whenever he referred me to their, friends and business associate, he always tells them, you need to talk to this OG. And I'm like, what do you mean by the OG? I'm not original gangster. He said, no, man, that is the optimization guy. And this client he had like a deep voice, so he was like, you need to call the optimization guy. So from there, I took that name and started another YouTube channel where I basically share all the tips and advice on online marketing in general.
yeah.
But it was amazing. I mean, it started, if I really go back, let's say back in 2005 and 2006, started helping one of my friend, brother Ali Ardakani, the Ummah films and different projects. And this is how I actually started. I fell in love with the Summits project and started, work on some of the amazing tasks. And from there, that hobby eventually became business venture.
Oh, I didn't know that was when you got started with that.
Yes, so this is how it happened. I mean, it was hilarious because Ali was producing all these amazing videos, and one day he asked me, "Hey, can you help me out?" I said, "Sure." And I got into this blogging, the world of blogging, and MySpace, the social media. Everything was just like a trial and error. And when the website grew and we generated a lot of fans and attended so many conferences, then the small businesses started to approach us and tell us how do you use blogging for business, how do you use videos, and from there, of course, brother Ali, he's always helpful, and I also love to help anyone that, that asks any question. I love to help them. I guess that's just part of my
Yeah,
how was I raised. And
yeah,
alhamdulillah, from there you go, the rest was history.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Wow. I knew you were doing it, but yeah, you're definitely always helpful. I know every time I have a question or something, I pipe right in.
Yeah.
And I think there, especially, when did I start in this business? Probably 2002, teaching myself SEO.
Wow.
Yeah, that was when it wasn't even an industry yet. It was just from Andy Jenkins.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Andy's old too. No, Andy Jenkins taught me how to set up my first site in 2002. That's when I set up my first site and I bought his ebook,
uh,
Yahoo Store Profits. And then I was all excited. I'm like, now my store is up. And then my next problem was, how am I going to get people to the store to buy?
this is amazing
Yeah.
because when I started learning SEO later on, because I would technically say I started in social media rather than SEO, like the
Mm,
videos and the blogs and content. Later on, around like maybe 2000, at the end of 2007, I knew of the SEO, and when I started to get into it deeper, unfortunately, all the SEO knowledge that I gained mostly were black hat. No, black hat SEO. So
Yeah.
I was thinking like, oh, this is cool. I can rank the website. I can look at the previous project that, let's say work on more films and whatnot, how it brought me traffic because we used to, I remember when, for instance, Brother Ali used to, you know, post those videos. I take those videos and upload them to like 50 video sites manually. Uh, so,
Yeah.
and from there, and submit different blogs and whatnot. So I thought, okay, this could be the right way to do it. And it worked back then. It
Yeah.
really worked. So when I started to learn a lot of these so-called SEO from the so-called internet gurus and whatnot, I later found out that most of them actually not a good practice, and it will cause a lot of problems. So I started to join the Webmaster Tool community from within Google. Then I start to learn more in depth on what is the actual or the correct way of running the SEO from Moz.com, and previously used to be called SEO Moz,
Exactly.
Search Engine Land, and all these other so-called white hat. Then I actually fell in love more because now I know both. I know the so-called black hat or the gray hat, and also the white hat. So, and
Exactly.
the reason I like it because imagine if you start a business and you want to gain customers, or you want the customer to find you, so the search engine is the way to go, organically, of course. And if you want to get some sort of fast result, then you have to honestly try the online advertising, which is Google AdWords and
Yeah.
Bing and Amazon and Facebook and whatnot.
Exactly. I never got into the black hat just because I knew, actually, how old apparently I am. But when I got started, it was really just a new field altogether. It was really, Google was new.
Wow.
Google was just really, they weren't the big player in the search engine marketing. I mean, the search engine market to begin with. It was more the Yahoo and Overture, and
Right.
and Google was just really up and coming in that market. So we were doing pay-per-click ads with Yahoo rather than Google because their platform was pretty primitive. And when they did come up, clicks were like 5 cents.
Nice.
Like, good luck with that now, but
Oh,
you get
forget it.
clicks for 5 cents. And that's how I started learning to do some PPC and SEO. And really, there was no provider industry at that time. Everything was just online entrepreneurs trying to do. And of course, it took off later when people started. But really, when I was in that space at that particular time, no one was really trying to start an agency. They were just trying to market their sites. And now it's a totally different world.
You're
So,
absolutely correct because that's why if you go back 10, 15 years ago, a lot of these great web designers or specifically web developers that can build an awesome website, but the majority of them don't know the in-depth of SEO. They might know the basic, just like the title and the meta and the schema, and that's about it, but they don't know how to strategize or anything like that. So that's why you got these so-called agencies that only specialize in SEO, or and some of them that are built on the web development and they add
yeah,
that service as well. Because if you look at it, with so many trillions of web pages out there, having a nice looking website is not enough.
exactly.
So you have to make sure that the website does its purpose. For instance, it gives the user a better user experience, gives them what they need, and it's fast and it's searchable. So it's becoming really kind of insane, especially with all these crazy updates from
Yeah.
Google.
Oh my gosh.
Like, so that's another thing. It's good and bad because it's good because that keeps our business up and running because we can tell the client, hey, look, I didn't make the change. This is the algorithm change, so we need to change the
Yeah.
strategies based on the algorithm. So it helps. At the same time, it might be something negative to some customers, and especially those, unfortunately, that did not know how to use it the right way.
Yeah, I don't know if you cross this, and I know you do because I don't think you can be in this space and not do it. With clients, they come from other companies or other, like you said, so-called experts. I caught that. And they come from these companies and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not keeping up with the updates from Google. They're telling them what to do and the stuff is banned. I mean, these are practices. I had one guy email me something and say, hey, can you do this on my website and everything? I have a consultant to tell me to add this stuff. And so I looked at the email and it was basically keyword stuffing.
Oh my God.
And I said, oh my God. So I replied to him and I told him that, Google banned this 4 years ago. Sent him the video and I sent him the link to the video and explaining that this video is from 4 years ago.
Wow.
And Google specifically banned this practice 4 years ago. So whoever your consultant is, you might want to change this consultant. And he replied, I'm so glad I have you, because the guy wasn't trying to take him down or anything. He was trying to help out, but he didn't know what he was talking about.
Wow. I was wondering the same thing. I was wondering why some of these so-called agency still use outdated tactic and
I think they just
just
don't know. They just, you know what? I figured it is and this is my own thinking, they figured that SEO is so hot, it's in high demand. They can
uh
get a little person here to do this, that, and the other. And now they're in SEO. As long as they can sell SEO, they're okay. They don't worry about actually keeping up with the rules and the guidelines and all of Google's changes. They don't worry about that. I don't know if they even know, but if they do know, they decide to ignore.
you know what? You actually just reminded me now. Call this because I was with growing my business. What I do right now, I associate or collaborate with other agencies, and I found
Yeah.
out some of those big agencies that run an SEO, it's not an in-house, so
Yeah.
they outsource it to somebody else, and they themselves don't know whether
Exactly.
those tactics are okay or not. So that was the one
Yeah.
problem. The second problem I've seen, unfortunately, this is kind of sad because there's some folks that know that they actually use black hat, but they don't care because
Yeah.
the customer doesn't understand how it works. All they care about charging money. In the third situation, I noticed some businesses will charge you monthly SEO services for like a couple of $1,000s, which is a typical price. But
Yeah.
even then, they only implement on-site. So why would you charge monthly for an on-site SEO? Because the on-site SEO is only done once. The off-site SEO, well, you
Is
have
the
to do it
ongoing.
on a monthly basis. Like something on weekly blogging, content marketing, videos, quality link building, or that kind of stuff. But so I've seen different crazy scenarios, and it's very hard to find really. I mean, there are actually some few good companies that I know that are really, really good when it comes to search engine, but there are very few that
Yes,
do it the right way.
exactly. They're very few and far between, and it's like I know you. If
Thank
there's
you.
something that I don't handle, I'll shoot it over to you, and it's one of those things that I just have not. Every client that just about that came from a referral had come from a company that had scammed them. And one of those companies contacted me one day. Of course, I didn't know. They contacted me to outsource their web design portion. And so I took on, but he didn't know that I knew SEO.
Right.
And so what happened was I never told the client, but it was very transparent that I was a totally different company and they had my website and everything. So what they would do is they would go check out my website and they would come back to me. So while I'm building their website, they would ask me certain questions because they couldn't get answers from the original company. And so I would explain to them what this particular term meant because they just had a feeling that they were just getting a runaround. You know when somebody
Right.
is trying to take you for a
Yes.
ride, just in your heart, but you can't really tell. So I would
Right.
explain it to them. And eventually some of them thought, well, why the heck am I paying him for this? And then they would leave because they just couldn't get through. Once they signed their contract, they
Uh-huh.
everything, and I saw some of this, they would send me some of the stuff they had done. And it doesn't matter. You could be a small business. Well, they wouldn't talk to anybody who couldn't pay at least 1,500. But you could be a small business or $20 million company. It didn't matter.
In-
And actually one of them
Interesting.
that came to me was a $20 million company. And they
Wow.
had been bamboozled out of 6 months worth of SEO payments. And finally the SEOs guy was the well, not the SEO guy, the CEO started thinking, hey, what are we doing over here? And I was just dumbfounded because I didn't realize they had been paying this guy. They had been dealing with this guy for 2 years.
Oh my God.
I came in just to redo their website, and it was atrocious. It looked like something a 6-year-old did, what they had presented to him. And I said, "This website
Wow.
is horrible." He said, "Yes, but you don't have to tell them that." I said, "He can see it." I said, "This guy is, you don't build a company like this, and you can't look at this." I said, "You guys actually presented this to the client?" And he was like, "Yeah, but don't tell him that." And that's when I really started knowing what I was working with. And I finished up my projects that I was working with because I had committed to those clients, and I
Correct.
got out. And but it was just terrible. He even tried to sell the company, and the guy who was looking into buying it found out there was a lien against it. I mean, these people are
Yeah.
just gorillas when it comes to, they just don't care.
Yeah. And it's kind of really sad because right now, on one side, you have the consumer or the customer getting, you know, uh, jacked up. Then, secondly, you have to explain to them right now because since that's the
Yes.
bad experience, now you have to spend some time to educate them and convince them. So, really, those kind of companies make our job for the ones that are doing right makes it a little bit difficult.
So now you're
Yeah.
being, yeah, it makes it so hard. And I had a philosophy. It's that the reason why there's so many of them, one, it was an easy business to start. And when you're buying or when you're hiring an SEO agency, you don't know what you're buying. You
Right.
really don't understand the product. And that's what I tell the clients. I said, you don't understand the business in order to buy it properly. So that's what I've been like doing my training. But so you don't understand it. So now you don't know what you don't know. So
Correct.
on top of that, my thing was when I started in this industry, I never intended to go into it as an agency. I never looked at it that way. I only started it because I had to, because people kept asking me to help them out. And then when, people start asking, you start to have to make things a little more official because then it just becomes all, unorganized and it just gets messy. So I started it for that reason only. And my philosophy is that by the time the people who are really good at SEO learned it, why would they go and start an agency and just set up a whole bunch of websites online and just do it themselves? So all of the good people don't want to be bound by having to start an agency and go out and search for clients, and when they can make their money online and make a whole lot more of it and not be bound to those rules. That was just my philosophy on it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because of this situation, you probably already know that I started a local meetup two
Yeah.
years ago. And the purpose of the meetup was since I noticed that specifically the small businesses have, the majority that I experienced with don't have a clue what is digital marketing in general or what is online marketing.
Yeah.
So I started this meetup locally because the majority of the small businesses that I experience with, most of them don't know or don't understand what does digital marketing mean or online marketing.
Yeah.
I noticed that Austin, Texas, they have tons of amazing meetups, a lot of networking, tons of startups and big companies. But in San Antonio, which is more like a blue collar city, and it's actually growing right now. We have so many tech industries are coming in, and a lot of startup. I mean, few startup are getting off the ground. So I decided to first look for any meetup that talks about online marketing. And there was one person who used to teach SEO, but he left and there was nobody else. So I started this San Antonio online marketing group for the hope to get all the online marketing in San Antonio to get together and learn from each other and help, everyone else. So eventually this meetup ended up being a place where now I provide 6 to 8 classes every month
Yeah.
and
Wow.
one seminar per month where I do my best in most cases to explain everything to the small business. What is digital marketing? What is SEO or social media or Facebook or YouTube? And sometimes I bring guest speakers who are in the same industry that can, give back to the community, pay it forward and educate them and help them because this way now they can make a proper decision who they are going to hire or what kind of right questions they are going to ask if they're going to hire anybody. So it's been really amazing experience, and I love just giving it back, and I can see how some of the small businesses that some of them turn into my customers, and some of them go and hire somebody else that do an excellent job on their
Yeah,
business. So this is me like, you know what? I guess this is the way that I can change. If I can look at all those negativity of what all these other agencies are scoring some customers,
exactly.
I can complain about it, but that's not going to do anything. So it's best to go out and focus on providing that value, and I believe that can definitely change.
Yeah, exactly. It's something you have to do. And I know your meetup is a very large meetup and you have a really large following, but you always give so much quality information even at our last event, and everyone was listening to you, and I'm looking around the room and people were just scribbling because they were trying to get all of the stuff you were talking about, because you talk pretty fast, because we had a short time frame
Yes.
and you packed so much into it, and they were scribbling and looking and scribbling and looking, and I said, I think this one is going
Yeah, you
pretty
see,
well.
it's right. You see what happened? I used to attend all these so-called seminars and whatnot, and one of the frustration that I always used to get that most of them don't teach even, I would say, 50% of the basic. They teach very, very simple stuff. Then at the end, of course, they always want to sell something. Okay.
Yeah,
So I was just frustrated because you drive, you want to go learn something, at least one nugget, but it turns out something like it's not even worth it. So I decided again the concept of don't complain, just do something about it.
yeah,
So that then I started to what, if I'm going to share something, I will share everything, and I don't care what people think. I will
yeah.
share everything because I know for a fact most businesses don't have the time to do everything because
If you're
you're
doing it
talking.
correctly, yeah.
You're correct because you're taking your experience over all these years and putting it on the table. So for somebody
Yeah,
to come and say, "Yes, I can do it," be my guest. But the reason I do this to explain to them, look, this process, you can see it. The solution is here. It might be simple, but it takes a lot of work. And if you are a business owner, you should focus on your business. But if you want to take it by yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, one of my friend and client from California, all the landscaping construction.com, Mr. Joe Johnson, I mean, he is amazing. He learned all the online marketing, all the SEO, all the social, and he's
yeah,
doing very good. So
yeah.
people like him are like not too many.
Yeah, yeah. And it does take a lot of time. It really, like I tell them, I said, you either have to spend time or money. But the problem is when you spend the money, you have to make sure you spend it in the right place. And I've seen some who try to bring it in house. And I don't know about your experience, but those I've seen go kind of sour a little bit too, because then they hire inexperienced people.
Yeah, I can definitely remember that because
Yeah,
what I realized when I was doing SEO myself, there's no way, whether it's an SEO or any kind of business, and this is one of the things that I recommend any startup or any freelancer that wants to start their agency, that it is impossible for you to take more than one customers in 1 month. It's not going to work. So I try to follow the rules of the 20-80%, right? Do 20% of the work, produce 80% of the result. So I had to sacrifice a few things. So the first thing, I had to sacrifice my prices. That means if I make 3,000 on web project by myself, I had to take half of that and send the other half, or even 2,000 of those to somebody else because I don't want to spend too much time on it. A couple of friends that are into the same web development niche, and for some reason they can't get out of that circle of mindset. It's like some sort of ego, right? They
yeah,
tell me, "No, man, this is my design. That's how I want to do it. Nobody else can do it." I'm like, "Well, then you know what? You'll end up being an employee to your business." So I decided from day one, I had to think of different ways to run the business and not be, an employee of the business.
yeah.
So I remember back when, long, long time ago, when I was learning Dreamweaver and Firework and
Oh,
all those
wow.
different other certification on like Microsoft and IT and whatnot, I
Yeah,
realized, telling myself, man, all these expensive certifications, and there was an issue of the expensive to change every few months,
yeah,
and I'll end up just paying for them and just
yeah,
learning. So I decided, you know what, I gotta start. If I ever start a business, I gotta start hire somebody smart and let them do the work.
yeah,
So that's what happened. So to do everything myself, it was not easy. So I had to look for, outsourcing somebody local or overseas. So locally, of course, the price is a little bit high, which means if I get a client, I have to match up the price.
Yeah.
When I start to look for overseas, and thanks to Brother Ali for helping me and coaching me on that, we hired several people through ELAMs. Anybody from India or Bangladesh or Middle East or Africa or even South America. My experience is specifically with hiring folks from India, I have nothing against them, but it was extremely horrible.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. I was waiting for that one to come. I was
I
just
don't want to
like,
say this, but it was like extremely horrible because they're too laid back. They don't understand customer service. And believe it or not, only last year I had one company from India. I had to
mm,
go back to it. I have this company on online marketing because I saw that they were doing some project for like Lexus and another company called Reliance. So I said, you know what? Let me give it a try. Then I have a couple of companies from Philippines and from UK and of course Russia and South America. What I decided to, instead of just having a individual freelancer, I'd rather focus with agencies, because just like any web agency or online marketing agency here in the state, it's the same thing overseas. They want to make sure that they provide the best service and they always get customers and they have a system in place. So that's what I ended up having, is to hire and work with those
but
agencies.
but you know how to do that because you know what they're supposed to be delivering. So
Absolutely.
that's where the education part comes in, because if you try to go out there and do that on you, because we all get these emails from agencies offering us SEO for $99 a month, and we'll do this and we'll do that, and from India, oh, God knows
Right.
where they're from. And for the person who has no, and they target agencies, but for the
Right.
one who has no experience and don't know what they're doing, or they just want to sell the service like a lot of them do, they'll hire one of these guys and have a huge markup on it, but they don't do anything.
You're absolutely correct. And you had to, I mean, it was very difficult, honestly. It was very difficult to find a good agency. It took me like a couple of years. I would say like 2 or 3 years to find a good one. It was very hard
Yeah.
because every time I hired one, they end up doing stuff that is either outdated, or they do some shady stuff where they hire also to somebody else. It was very chaotic. So I ended up, thanks to you, because you did recommend me one, and I did some research and found out they were great.
Yeah.
And I have one, like I said, one another big company from Philippines and one from India. Now, I also have agencies here in the state, but of course, those agencies from the state are, of course, pricey. So if I get a big client, I will, see if I can go with them first. And if the budget doesn't match, then I will switch to the overseas. So I decided to put a system in place where I have access to everything. So instead
Yeah.
of competing, now I collaborate. So
Yeah.
collaborate with other agencies and start helping each other. And it's so amazing that when you're so consistent and work very hard and always come with a solution, you're gonna find it. So right now, you can technically say I have an agency because I have everything. I mean, from
Yeah.
graphic designers to account managers to web developers, SEO, social, mobile apps, everything.
Yeah. And it takes a long time to, I mean, to really pull that team together. I mean, we
Correct.
build our teams different ways, but it took a long time to build these teams and to build these relationships. And for like, I don't have, if I can't help someone, or if, because we just have different niches, or we have different differentiation aspects. And if there's something that I know that, as like, Yusuf would be the best one to handle this, and I'll shoot it over. No, no big deal, because as long as I'm getting them to someone that I know is good and I know is going to take care of them, then I'm okay. I've done my job.
It's amazing how I give several classes on outsourcing to small businesses, telling them exactly what they need to do to avoid the mistake that I made. And right now, if you have any project that you want to start, it will take me like probably 10 minutes to hire somebody because of the experience that I've been through.
Yeah.
It's for me, it's very easy how to find the right person and how to hire them. And even though I did several classes locally and they're still having an issue, and I told them, well, you got to be consistent and right person to help you out. And it's funny because I showed them everything. Like I told them how to look, where to look, and how to engage with them. Especially, don't treat them like a staff. Don't call them staff. Treat them like a team. Consider them like they're part of your team, and be so good to them. Like pay them very well And this is another thing that I don't like about some of these so-called online marketers, where they always tell you go outsource somebody cheaper. Cheaper doesn't mean always good. Does that
And
make
a lot of
sense?
times it doesn't mean good. That's the problem with that. You get what you pay for. That's what I tell them. You get what you
Abs-
pay for. If you're getting
abs-
somebody at $3, $4 an hour, then expect $3, $4 an hour work.
Absolutely. And I mean, there are exceptions to the case. Yes, there are a few folks that, yes, they might do it 4 or 5 because they themselves don't realize their potential. So, what I do, I make sure that all my team get paid very well, like, 15, 18, 45 and up. Why?
Yeah,
Because I want to make sure that they live nicely, whatever they're living at, and feed their family without, having a second thought. If you take care of them, they will take care of you.
yeah, yeah. When I got my first, actually, he's my lead designer right now, and his skills over the past, he's been with me for so long, he calls me mom, but I recognized his talent very early on. And again, I was hiring him for me.
Nice.
And my agency was mainly very new, but I was hiring him for my stuff. But I wanted someone that could specifically do one particular thing that was a very unique skill. And I had so many people applying, and I said, I wanted to see the portfolios, and I could tell if I wanted them who could customize the thesis theme at that time. And they would send me sites that weren't there was no thesis to begin with, waste my time,
Right.
or they would send me sites that were in thesis that were coded with thesis, but they didn't design them.
Interesting.
So they had put in their portfolio other people's sites.
Oh, wow.
But how I know this? I knew it, but someone else wouldn't have known.
Correct.
And I knew who designed some of those sites. So because I'm in the forums, I'm in the sites, I'm on the blogs, I'm in the forums. I know sometimes I'm communicating with these people, and I'm like, you realize these people here, they just listed all of these sites, and they're not sites that they've done. They just wanted the job. And so,
Yeah, it is crazy, and you have to be very careful.
yeah,
There's so many strategies. Like when you hire somebody, for instance, if you post a job for, let's say for mobile app and whatnot, you have to mention in the post that do not reply to me until you answer the 3 questions in this post.
yeah. And
And you
they'll
put
just,
3 questions in the middle, and if they reply to you with the answer, then you would know that they actually read the whole thing.
exactly. And how
Attention
many
to detail.
people, and most of them, 75% of them don't.
Don't even read, yeah.
It's so funny. They'll say they read the post.
Right. That's why there's a way really to get the right person. There's so many different
Yeah.
ways to get the right one. And this is an advice that I'd really tell, not just at any freelancer, even here locally when I coach startup, and I tell them, look, if you want to start this kind of niche, eventually you have to outsource. You have to, delegate. Otherwise, you can't run the business. And right now, people ask me, how come I give all these
Yeah.
classes? How come I can do everything? And I tell them because, my business is running by itself. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Does that make
You
sense?
have to
So
have a team. You have to have a team that can, because it's a lot of work. I
it
tell them, I
is.
said, I can tell you what to do, but you will either have to do this or run your business. You can't do both.
Correct.
You can't do both and really, really maximize. And I've had some that actually would, and I know this is a totally different interview, but this is something I feel is so important because everyone, especially if they start out, are going to get to this topic. But I had several who got so frustrated with the scam artists or whatever and the con artists, and they would bring it in house. But then they would bring it in house, and some of the ones that I knew, they would bring people that didn't know themselves. So yeah, I had a few people, just because they know me personally, they were like, yeah, I just got hired as an SEO person that I'm going to be calling you for advice. And I'm like, no, you won't. Why do you take a job if you don't know how to do it?
Right.
And think you're going to spend my time for me teaching you how to do it while they're no, that's not going to happen. And I've had 2 or 3 have done that. And I'm not broadcasting myself. These are just people who happen to know me and happen to take jobs. Imagine how many people are in this position. That they're
Yeah.
hiring people that don't know how to do the job they hired them for because they don't know how to hire somebody who knows how to do the job. So it
Yeah,
puts
that
them in, it's a catch 22 because they're hiring people in house to try to protect their business. And it still doesn't really protect them. Yeah, it keeps you from getting conned, but you still got someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
you know what? You just give me an idea. I'm gonna have to write a blog or an ebook on how to help agencies find the
No,
right team.
that's what I've been doing. And we've talked about this. I just finished an ebook, but I'm still
Uh-huh.
doing, we talked about doing a video training just to get it out there to as many people as possible. And, from then on they can decide they at least they know how to hire someone.
Absolutely. This
At
is
least they know
amazing.
how. And I
You're
have it
absolutely
right here.
correct.
It's ready to go.
No, you're absolutely correct because due to the meetup that I was giving locally, that's how I get approached by other agencies because they attend the class several times. They see what I'm teaching. They can see the proof. They can see the work, and
Yeah.
this I think this gonna definitely help.
Yeah. Yeah, it will. And, at least hopefully my whole thing was hopefully it will at least put some standards in our industry
Yeah, I don't know about
for
some standard. I mean, that's a very excellent point.
some
I mean,
standards in
this
our industry and at least empower the business owners to where if they're empowered to do it, then they don't have to worry about being taken advantage of. And then that would either, hopefully, we could eventually weed out the ones and bring in good agencies, people, because I know several good ones. And it's just that we're not willing to lie
right,
and to mislead, and we don't sound quite as sexy to them
right.
when we're telling the truth. And my thing was, I said, this is what is going to happen. And every single one have come back. But now they've come back after they've wasted a year or two. And one said, what should I do? I said, you need to start listening to me. You need to start listening to me. If I know it sounds good, I know it sounds like a pipe dream, and that's what they're good at. They're good at telling you what you want to hear. The good ones are not going to do that. They're not going to lie to get your business because they already know they have some integrity there. But it just is not going to sound the same.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. And one
so,
of the things that if let's say this is maybe an advice to the listeners,
yeah,
like if you want to find out which company that knows online marketing, you have to ask. I mean, first you have to know the basic. You yourself have to know it because if you
yeah,
don't know, how can you select which is a good one or not?
exactly.
So any company that comes and tells you, for instance, and to see if they have some sort of red flag, if they tell you we are going to rank you on the first page of Google organically within
Yes.
24 hours, that's a red flag. If
Or if they
if
tell you
they
that, period.
yeah, that's it. You got to run. You got to run with your horse. I'm gonna run with my camel, but you got to run. So that's the first thing. And secondly, if they always talk about ranking only, that's not a good sign
Yeah.
because search engine optimization is not just about ranking, but it's
Mm,
more about user experience. It's more about conversion. If they talk about conversion, sometime your website could be on the second page, on the third page, and guess what? You might still get leads. You might still get phone
yes.
call. So they have to focus on those kind of information. And you can ask them, what is a black hat SEO? What is a gray hat? What is a white hat? What kind of website do you follow to learn? Specifically, myself, I love Moz.com, Moz.com. That's one of my favorite. Then you also have search engine land.com, search engine journal.com,
Yes.
search engine roundtable, and I believe SEO books. These are the ones that you can actually trust when it comes to this, like specifically SEO or the online marketing in general.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna. I think we're gonna do another call. Brought you on for that. We're gonna do another one where we just sit out and do a Q&A. I'm gonna set that up probably in the next couple of weeks. We just do a Q&A and just really let people just come in and online.
That'd be
And
awesome.
yeah,
That'd be awesome.
so that was one I was putting together just this week and really just letting people get it out there because it just really, wow,
And
wow.
you know what? Even is the idea of online marketing, digital marketing, and right now you have mobile and SEO and whatnot. It's actually not that difficult, but like you said, it is just time
It's
consuming.
very time
It is
consuming.
very time consuming, and it's for point. I mean, there's a huge result. But if you start any business, I mean, if you want to start any business, These sort of information should not scare you, but you have to be open to learn. You have to understand how these type of strategy can actually help you, because technically, if you do everything by yourself initially, you don't have to spend tons of money if you don't have it. Now, I'm not saying this to make you think, like the cheap mentality. I don't like to, tell people, be always all the time cheap. No, you have to invest in the business. And if you have sort of budget in your place, you can use some of those money and invest it back. If you don't, do your best to learn, and whatever you learn, apply it. And the reason I'm saying this, because online marketing actually changes very fast. I mean, look at social
Yes.
media; it changes very fast, and
Yes.
SEO gets with all these new algorithm. So don't try
Yeah.
to be too cheap. I mean, do your best to understand, and don't confuse bootstrapping with being cheap. Bootstrapping basically means you can find ways. If you can do it by yourself or within your budget, you will do it. So spend wisely, be very smart. One of my favorite quote that I just read a few days ago by Kate Buck Jr. She's one of the social media expert here from San Antonio. I'm sorry, from Austin, Texas. She built different program teaching new businesses. Like, let's say if you want to get into social media business, she has a course that teach you how to start. And one of the statements that I love, and she said, if you can't afford to invest in marketing your business, then you do not actually have a business. You have a side project, a hobby, hope, and a prayer that make it this month, which is true. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you have to invest in business, even for few money. You have to get into the mood. You know what? In order for me to succeed, I have to invest. I can be free all the time.
Yeah, especially in this industry when they don't know what this stuff costs or entails. You don't have a frame of reference, because my personal favorite are the hosting companies that have their SEO. And it just kills me, because we're like, this is not SEO. And
Yep.
now it's content marketing anyway, but everyone is like, oh, SEO. So when they see this is only $50 a month, and they don't know what that garbage is, they're thinking they got SEO, and it's like, no, you got something that they are calling SEO that you're paying them $50 a month for nothing, pretty much. But if you don't know that up front, you can't make that decision. And
You're absolutely correct, because sometimes, I mean, the only time you can pay SEO service for like $400 a month, really, if it's from overseas, because for them that 400 is a lot of money. But if you know the actual work that involves in the SEO, it's a lot of work. So
yeah,
it's impossible. It's going to be for $50. That is like, I'm going to build a car for $1. That's not going to happen.
yeah, that's a good
So
analogy. I'm gonna build a car for
yeah,
$1.
because when people tell me that this is $50 or $90 a month, or some of them right now, I noticed some of them come and say, you know what, I will rank you on the first page and you don't have to pay anything until it's ranked. How do they do that? I mean, unless if you
Oh
have numbers, you
yes,
have enough money, then yes, maybe you can do it. But other than that, I sometimes question it, because the reality, if you just go to Google and type SEO price list Moz. I'm gonna do a quick search here. If you go to Google and do a search for SEO, I'm sorry, prices Moz, you just put the word Moz, and Moz wrote a blog post on this topic. It's called SEO pricing, 600 plus agencies share cost of services. And this is the research done like in 2012, and explains, the prices that SEO consultant and SEO expert charge anywhere between 75 to like 120 an hour.
yeah,
And they talk about different projects. I mean, so if you understand the reality of the work, it is impossible to do SEO for like $50 or a
yeah.
couple of hundred. So they need to realize that.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, and giving them that. And right now, especially at least the way I do things, you need to include, like you said, social media and other things. And
Absolutely.
you made an exact point that I took. You don't have to rank now to get traffic and to get business from the search engines. You don't have to rank on the first page, but that's the mindset. That's how they've been taught and pushed over years. Their mindset is all on rankings. I would ask some of the clients, they said, yeah, this guy, because they wouldn't go with me. And they would say, at first, they said, oh, he said he's going to rank me at the top of the search engines for my keywords. And I said, what keywords are those? He's like, oh, I don't know. I said, so you're going to pay for something you don't know what the keywords are. And so I would explain to them, I said, look, he didn't even tell you. First of all, he promised you something that he can't deliver. And that's a red flag.
It
Second of
is.
all, if he promised to rank you for at the top of the search engines for your keywords, then they're going to be keywords that nobody's going to be searching for anyway.
Correct.
They're going to be low because they don't know that there's traffic and search volume and all of this stuff. So they're like, well, he got me to the top of the search engine for which
It got cut
keywords?
off.
Yeah, this is the
I
only
don't.
time it's cut off. But
I think Skype couldn't handle our conversation. It was too much information.
yeah, we got people listening in over here.
Okay.
But so I gave one, and I know you got to go. I gave one 5 keywords, and he came in. He's like, "This guy is giving me." I met some guy at my Chamber of Commerce meeting, and he's going to give me 10 keywords. So I said, "Send me those 10 keywords."
Uh-huh.
I kid you not, 6 out of the 10 keywords had no search volume. And out of those 6, some of them had no search volume, and some of them they were totally irrelevant to his business, and they were just ridiculous. And I said, "Have you even looked at these keywords?" I said, "They have nothing to do with. Some of them have nothing to do. Other ones." So I showed him. I said, "One of my keywords, just one of my keywords, was more than 3 times all 3 of his 10 in search volume. I still had the other 4."
You
And
know, it's
that's when it was an
amazing.
eye opener for her, from him, thinking
Right.
like, wow, he gave me 10, I gave you 5, but my search volume was is probably 4 times his total out of his 10. It was ridiculous.
This is amazing because they don't realize that with all the changes in the algorithm right now, actually, Google don't. I wouldn't say they don't look at the keyword. They do, but they focus more in usability and also content, like how many
Yeah.
content you're writing, and are those content are dead? Are they like really valuable? Are people sharing it? So things are changing, but like you said, I still see some folks that talks about these some of the
Because
outdated stuff and whatnot.
they don't know, and they know this is what the customer is looking for. They know this is what the customer, because the customers or the clients don't know. So there's like, oh, their care about is getting ranking. That's what I'll sell them on,
Yeah.
because they don't care. And it's an industry that's changing so quickly and so fast. This was years ago that particular thing happened, but over the course of years, it's just been so many of these situations that I get a headache just thinking about it.
And
But
I tell people, yeah, and I tell a lot of businesses that really, when you look at digital marketing, I mean, right now, SEO is just one part of the online marketing,
yeah,
which means you can't just only focus on that. It's essential. So you have to focus on, say, social media is part of it. When I say content marketing, basically I'm talking about blog, podcasts like this show, YouTube, infographics.
yes.
So things are really spreading out, and right, and especially this year, April 21st. This is the year where Google basically said that every website has to be a responsive based design
Exactly.
or mobile friendly. And if it's not, Google might not show that website on the mobile devices if it's not mobile friendly. So that's why businesses really have to be following up with all the changes, because their biggest competitors, the big companies, are able to spend tons of money to make
Yeah.
sure that they are digitally visible.
Yeah, and you need someone to keep you up on that. That's the other side of only doing the work, staying up to date and keeping up. It's wow, it's a lot to just keep yourself educated and keep yourself on top of the changes, because it's a responsibility on us. If we're not
Right.
compliant, then our clients are not compliant. They hire us to protect them and make sure they're okay.
Right. And
But
for that reason, it's in the process that I'm planning to start a monthly membership
yes,
where agencies or businesses can, it's going to be very affordable, so they can log in, and it will consist of everything from online marketing strategies, SEO, social media, crowdfunding, even
wow,
everything. So they can just, kind of go ahead and log in and learn. And I'll also create a private community for the members. So in case they have a question, they can just, drop their question and I'll help them, because I think this is the problem, and the solution is to provide this information. Even though these information are available for free, you can find them in Linda or Udemy or any other website. What makes me different is I'm going to simplify them.
yeah,
Okay? I'm going to do my best to simplify, because a lot of those courses, Sometimes, a tech person or a knowledgeable person, they might be good at what they do best. But when it comes to like teaching and trying to take that message, it's a little bit challenging. And having all these classes that I've been doing locally to small businesses, now I understand how I can explain to them and how I can simplify it in the
Yes.
hope of, if in the hope of, for them to understand it better.
Excellent. And for everyone listening, I've been after him for so long to do this. But he's busy. He's a busy guy. He's in high demand. He's a busy guy. And it's like, look, can you get this up so we can actually educate and make sure that the business owners, at least they know. Some are going to hire agencies anyway, but they know. And then some of them are going to have to bootstrap it and do it on their own. So yes,
Correct.
yes, yes. And now you've heard it directly from him, so we have him on the hook to to actually
And
get it done.
right, and here's another tip, and it's very sad. I'm gonna give you this simple tip, and I don't know why people don't follow it, but I appreciate and I hope the listeners will do this. When you do online marketing, there are like 100 ways of doing things. If you want to build traffic, there are also 100 ways of doing things.
Yes,
So what you do, it is better for you to do something little than not doing anything at all, right?
yes,
So that
absolutely.
being said, the best thing you have to do right now is at least blog once a week. If you can just blog weekly, update the content or be active in the social, like let's say one post a day, and you're consistent, eventually you will see some result. That's it.
Yes.
That's all I ask for you guys. Okay?
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
do that and make sure you have Google Analytics installed to your website and the Google Webmaster Tool. Then you will see what's happening. And when you have enough, let's say, if you generate some income through selling your service online or selling product, then make sure you put like 10 to 50% of that income invested back in marketing. So look into Facebook advertising, which is becoming very, very popular because it's very affordable and it
yeah.
brings good result. Or you can try Bing or Google or Amazon ads to get more conversion to your site.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And look, we've already been here an hour, and this topic could go on. I'm sure we're going to have to do an encore
Right?
one day because we didn't even get to the whole journey, but I did it purposely because this is such an important topic. And especially we're talking to people now who are going to want to, they're entrepreneurs or they're entrepreneurs and they want to start. This is a topic you're going to have to face eventually. And getting this busy, you're going to have to market it. So this
Absolutely.
one, I decided, well, let's just talk about this and all of the craziness that goes on in our lovely industry. But we're definitely, I think we're going to have an encore, and we'll be in touch, especially to get those calls out and everything. I'm excited about it. And again, how can people find you?
They can just snap and I'm just kidding. You can Google my name, Yusuf Chowdhury. Okay, that's a Chowdhury, and first name Yusuf, Yusuf, of course. My own website just started this year, yusufchowdhury.com. You can connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, any social media site. Just when you connect with me, tell me why you're connecting with me because I don't just accept anybody. What I mean by that, don't give me a call, connect because I don't know you. Tell me, you know what, I listened to you in this podcast with Victoria, or I saw your blog or somewhere else. That way, I will definitely connect with you, and I love to help. What I mean by that, I'll do everything what I can to answer your question and guide you. Okay, so please connect with me.
Absolutely. And you won't be sorry. And your Usified series
Yes,
and
gotta
you're
get
on
Yusufied.
LinkedIn, and this is the guy. This is, if you got questions, this is definitely, Yusuf is definitely the one he's the go-to. He's the OG.
Right, and
So
I think all the listeners today, y'all been Yusufied approved. So there you go.
everyone's been Yusified. I've been Yusified. You've been Yusified.
One of the business coach asked me, "How can I get Georgified?" Since you're Yusufied, how can that happen? I just told them, come to my place and I will coach you too. I better start my own line of certification, like, Yusufy different levels and Yusification
You will do
certification.
that
So,
in your membership.
right.
Yeah, it's going to happen in the membership. When they
There
get
you
to
go.
this level, then they'll be Yusified, Yusified, what is it? Silver, and then gold, and then platinum.
Wow. Now you give me another idea. That's awesome.
Yeah, so when they go out, then yes, that's awesome. Let's do that.
Actually, there were a couple of businesses when I refer, I do tell them you need to contact this moving company or this graphic designer. And by the way, they're Yusufied. So when they call that company, hey, Yusuf, tell me that you're Yusufied. So I'm building my own brand here locally.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're gonna make sure everyone here is Yusified, or everyone here is at least can find people who are Yusified.
Yes.
Oh, this has been too much fun. I know I kept you a little bit long. You got to go. But thank you so much for being on. If we have to do another one, we did change the format a little bit. We didn't get as much into your story and your journey, but hey, we can always catch that on another one. I just really wanted to, I thought this was such an important topic, and to have you come on and talk about it, we can go on forever. So let's do it again. But for now, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of your wisdom. And let's see how we can do it again.
Thank you, Victoria, so much. I really enjoyed it, and I'm so excited to look forward to it for the next episode.
Yes. Okay, everyone, have a good day. If you've listened to this writing, our site is o2epodcast.com. That's O as in orange, 2 is in the number, E as in elephant podcast.com, and just Google YUSUF or SEO, and this podcast will come right up, and we'll go from there. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.